So what I'm going to do is roll him onto the opposite shoulder, because the rhomboids cheat, and quite often you'll miss a rhomboid. So I'm bending the arm. I've got the arm close to the body for the rhomboid test. He's inhibiting himself on the opposite side, and I'm pulling the rhomboid, and the rhomboid is quite weak. Now, if I don't put him onto that, and just do a standard, which is what's in the book, and test the rhomboid, I miss it. That rhomboid is testing strong. Roll him onto the other side so it can't cross-recruit. It's now working by itself, and it says, I'm weak. So I've got a rhomboid weak in the clear, and I've got an anterior serratus weak when I give it a stretch. So now I know that the band that comes around here for the thoracic, scapulothoracic joint, this gliding can't take place properly. So that's going to cause some restriction and cause a shoulder problem. So that's one of the key places that I want to go to. One of the other places I want to go to is right under the armpit. I'll show it from this side. I want to go right under the axilla, as high up as I can get, and point in behind the scapula, and that gets me to the tendon of the subscapularis. So I can test the subscapularis as a muscle. I'm going to test that now. Visually it's okay. I'm pulling upwards, and that tests okay. I'm just going to let it ride up a little bit and then test it again. It's still testing okay. But when I put my fingers way up there under the axilla and point to the scapula itself, I can be on the tendon of the subscapularis. So if I put my fingers on the tendon of the subscapularis with those fingers there, I can see him wincing. And when I pull down, again, we've got a pull. So that's not helping to keep the center of axis of the scapula in the right place. So that's important. I've also got the coracobrachialis muscle is okay. The biceps okay. The triceps is okay. And the levator scapula, what's that one? What's that one, Joe?
Infraspinalis.
No, that one.
Coracobrachialis.
Coracobrachialis. Oh, I thought that was a coracobrachialis. That one's all testing okay.
Oh,
So
brachioradialis.
Oh,
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm coming to the top of his shoulder, and we examined all the joints where they met the sternum. They were all okay. They're all springing fine. So let's turn him face down. And again, we look at the shoulder there. So I can get hold of the base of the scapula, the triangular part. I can go now to the front of the shoulder and push backwards at the coracoid process, which, as a sesamoid now, it starts to give me the whole of the scapula. And I can see that I can't raise it from that position in isolation. So it's doing something when his arm goes through full range of motion, but when I try to do it in an isolated way, that's not moving, it's not gliding at all. So the medial border of the scapula won't rotate through that axis. So I'll check the other side. So we'll come to the base of the scapula here, and that one moves quite freely. So I don't know whether that would also show, if you were stood up, Paul, please. And I'll come around there. Try and show evaluation would also look.
Does he have any restriction on the range? Or?
No, the range is fine, which is good, because you think, oh, the range is fine, that's misleading, I'm moving on, but there is a problem there. No, that's fine. So basically what I'm here, I've got the coracoid process at the front, so I'm pushing back over, which pushes the scapula back into my hands. There's the scapula there, so I'm at the base of the scapula on the triangular part, and you see that moves around that axis there. This one doesn't move around that axis, so it's showing perfectly. So I'm pressing again, coracoid process, pushing back over, which gives me the scapula. I've got the base of the scapula, there's the medial border, there's the lateral border. I've got the scapula, and it doesn't want to move.
So is that the difference with it being weight bearing?
No, it wasn't doing it on the couch as well. Wasn't doing it, but a good point, it could be weight bearing. But I'm doing it there for visual. So his scapula isn't moving, and yet the range will take it, but it's taking it at some cost. It's got full range, but it's got a restriction. So I'm glad I found that restriction. Now, when I look onto the teres major, that's not too bad. Look on the teres minor, that's tighter. It's got a tension in the teres minor. We come up to the supraspinatus, and we've got a tension in the supraspinatus as well. Now, when we look at the supraspinatus, and we're looking at the groove, this is coming around here with something at the moment.
It just shows those.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Lovely.
Because it's the right arm.
Oh, it's the right arm as well. Can you hold that for us? So we've got the deltoid here. We've got the teres major, the teres minor, the infraspinatus. All of these muscles are flat muscles, and when I'm palpating the teres minor, it doesn't like. So now that would indicate me to test the teres minor. So normal test, take it through its range. It's already holding its tone. So the next thing I want to do is put a stretch on it. So I'm going to take the arm through its full range quickly, and then back to here. So we'll go quickly and then test it. And then I'm going to test it aerobically to see if after performance, doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how many it takes to blow it out. So that's 3 different things that you can do on the muscle. So I'm testing it now repetitively, aerobically. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And after 4, 5, 6, 7, it's going. So it's aerobically not doing its job properly. So it's under some strain, but it's probably not the major. It'll be some of the other muscles that are affecting it. So I'm looking at this facial band that's coming to here, going across the anterior serratus, and then to the opposite side. So because this is live, I'm going to put him back on the couch and see if he's got an imbalance in the pelvis. And if he has, I'm going to correct the pelvis first and come back and see if all this has changed. And then you'll start to see that it's more the facial band that's creating the problem rather than a local problem. So it's just gone over 11. Give you time for a wee break, and then we'll come back and perform this
miracle.
I'm addressing the question that Nishi's asked, but she's gone to work. So we're going to look at this, and Jill's going to read the question out.
Oh, well, I'm not, because my phone's dying.
Well, you don't need your phone. You're just going to read it out. You want to tell what you were asking.
So Nishi's asking if somebody abducts their arm to 90 degrees. 90
degrees. That's a glenohumeral joint.
And then
it's not that.
And the next 10 to 20 degrees are really painful. And then after that, it isn't.
After that, it isn't. So it's not a restriction as such that it's stopping it going to full abduction. What it is a painful range where something mechanical isn't happening. From there to there, it's happening. Then it's freed again. So what we've got to look at is what mechanism could do that. And what immediately springs to my mind is that when we get to 90 degrees, the clavicle at the sternoclavicular junction, this joint here, elevates with the contraction of the subclavius muscle. So if you can see, there's the shoulder, the arm's at 90 degrees, there's the subclavius muscle. So what it's doing is, where that meets the sternum here, so the sternoclavicular junction, that's what's going to happen for the next 30 degrees. And the action of that is dependent largely on other muscles, but largely on the subclavius muscle being able to actually make that joint hinge. Now, once you get past 30 degrees, the crank shape of the scapula, as it rotates superiorly, gives you another 30 degrees of motion. So we're out of the range where the subclavius is working now. Now it's the rotation of the clavicle that's taken up. So I'm looking at that mid-range and thinking, right, I've got a subclavius problem. So that would make me want to therapy localize it, challenge it, strip it out, do various things to make that work better. That should solve that. So we were just talking at the break time there, and Paul, when he had his shoulder problems, went once to a physio in the town who was well, Paul, come and tell the story. This is the sort of thing that the physios are going to tell you all the time. The client's going to come in with these stories.
Yeah, last year when Dennis was doing shoulder, everything that he touched on me was hurting and was right in the sort of pinnacle time of my problem. But anyway, before that, I went to the hospital before I seen Dennis and that. And the physio said she was a shoulder expert. She was in the operating theatre with the surgeons and everything. She said there was a supraspinatus tear, which I had. Will never get better. I won't even send you to see a consultant because he won't do anything for you. She gave me a couple of these red bands. Sorry, it's out in the kitchen. Exercise bands, just to put in the doorway and just do exercises. My supraspinatus has never been better, and I had the problem for about 8-10 years, and I can do everything now. I couldn't even get my arm back at this time last year.
Yeah.
But
So it's good just to know what other agencies like physios, osteopaths would tell you, surgeons would tell you, and collectively, if they're thinking weight bearing, then they're not going to be very good on shoulders.